everyone is telling you to get really good at AI and that this is the most important skill to learn in the 21st century. And as an AI engineer, having helped over 30 companies make millions of dollars with AI, I can tell you that there are actually 3 skills that are way more important than just understanding AI or how to use it. And for you to understand this point, I want to tell you a story of how I got into AI and how I first started with what I'm doing today, which is with my AI agency, Wicflow, helping companies make more money with AI. This is legit what I do every single day. So I think that there are not many things that I'm qualified of speaking of, but this is definitely one of them. And it all started when I was 15 and I got a sales job. And I will soon tell you how this goes back to AI. But I was 15 when I got my first sales job, and I started cold calling people, trying to sell them newspapers. This was an unbelievable job. And it wasn't unbelievable because, I made lots of money and it was all great and it was, sunshine and rainbows. No, it was really the opposite. And to give you sort of the backstory here, my mother tongue is actually Swedish, but I live in Finland. And when I got this sales job, I had to sell in Finnish, which I wasn't really good at. And as you can, understand, selling something in not your native language when you're 15 is not the easiest task if you have absolutely no job experience before that. Okay, I was 14 when I started delivering newspapers, but that didn't convert into me having better sales skills. So I had to start from ground zero, learning how to talk to people, learning how to think about psychology and convincing strangers to buy newspapers from me. And it was really painful, cold calling people every single day, like doing hundreds of calls per day, like after school. That is really painful. It's not fun. And you get rejected 99.9% of the time. And then every once in a while you get a sale. But the reason why this was such a good experience for me was that it really taught me a lot about how to sell stuff, how to communicate, how to understand the person on the other side, how to understand sort of value. And it gave me such a good experience that, like, from there on, I went into tech sales, I went into consulting, and it really changed my life in many ways, because I from that point on, I was a sales guy, right? Like, I learned how to sell, I learned how to communicate, and that was really great. And I also became a lot better at Finnish, which is, it's quite useful if you live in a country to sort of know the language. So that was sort of the start for me. And after that, as I said, like, I started working in tech, I started working in sales, I really enjoyed it. And then came 2022. At the end of 2022, when ChatGPT launched for consumers, I got immediately hooked on AI, because even though it wasn't very good at that point, I just saw tremendous potential. Like, I just knew that from also reading lots of history. I think you can see maybe my bookshelf here. Can we get the AI tracking to work? All right. Can we get it? Oh, you see my bookshelf here? Lots of history. All right. That's the point. And after reading lots of history, I sort of knew that, the Industrial Revolution and every single technological breakthrough, you have Ford with the cars, you have the railroads, like everything, right? Also airplanes. Every single time there's like a new sort of technological revolution, the ones who sort of learned how to use that technology first is usually the ones that are able to capitalize on the opportunity and get filthy rich in the process. And this is not only about getting filthy rich, it's really about, like, increasing your quality of life by using technology to make your life better in so many ways. And AI is absolutely no different from this. And even though ChatGPT wasn't that great in 2022, 2023, when I sort of started playing around with it, and even though I wasn't really using it for any sort of economically valuable tasks, I knew that these things are exponential. And once you have a truly revolutionary technology, it will only get better from there. And, I started using it more and more in my sales jobs, in my marketing jobs. I worked for a couple of startups. I worked in finance. I started using it more and more. And over time, going into 2024, 2025, AI got really good. And AI could all of a sudden You could use AI, you could create agents, you could automate things that saved you time, that got you better results and got you an advantage in business. And this was beautiful. Like, I was so happy with it because I was able to be more effective and be more economically valuable, which gave me better results. And it was also a lot of fun. Like, let's be honest here, like using AI and playing around with it is a lot of fun. Like, I essentially work every single day. Like last week, I worked like 14 to 16 hour days every single day. I mean, one thing is that, it's August here in Finland, and a lot of companies have come back from summer holiday, and it's like, I'm overwhelmed with work. But there are tough times, but most of the time it doesn't really feel like work. And now it's Saturday, and in my free time, I get to record these videos talking about the things I work on every single day. So I'm really fascinated. It's really fun, right? I think that a lot of people, they hear lots of negative things with AI, but it's really fun, right? And it's fun, using it, sort of problem solving with it, and then getting results from it. So the whole process is a lot of fun. And in 2025, then, I started consulting companies in particular on AI, because I realized that there's a lot of opportunity in me providing value for companies using AI. And now I would say that now at Wicflow, my agency, we have come to a point where it's not only about knowing the technical skills. There are many things around it that are more important. And sales is one of them. And it's not only sales, but it's like distribution, because it doesn't matter how good your product is. If you can't sell it, if you can't market it, no one will know, right? And it's the same thing, like AI has truly democratized and revolutionized sort of people's access to being technical, right? Like, I don't have a traditional technical background, but with AI, I'm able to outcode a lot of coders, a lot of like very technical people, just because I'm really good at using AI. But the biggest advantage that I have is that because I've worked in many startups, I've worked in sales, I've worked in marketing, I understand the flow of money. I understand the businesses. And from finance as well, I've understood sort of how a company makes money, how process should work. And that gives me an insane advantage, because it's not enough to just know AI and know what are all the cool things you can do with AI, because you need the idea, and you need the good ideas on what will actually move the business forward. Because a big mistake that I've noticed, and which is pretty clear when I talk to my clients, is that AI has made it ridiculously easy to automate dumb stuff. And I see so many people like focusing their time on automating stuff that is actually not producing them any results in business. And that is why, like, my philosophy in business has always been that I'm in the money-making business. I help companies make more money. And in order for me to help companies make more money, I need to focus on the things that actually bring lots of money and value inside the company. And we have constrained resources. We don't have time to automate everything. So we should really focus our time or attention and money on the things that will move our business forward the most. So what are the low-hanging fruits, first of all? What are the constraints of the business that if we solve this one thing, the whole business will grow? Not just growing the potential of the business by automating some unbelievable company brain that is actually not producing any value right now. So that is sort of my philosophy. And as I said, like, I could copy Netflix today. I could copy all of the content in Netflix today, but that doesn't mean that I will have a $400 billion company just because I don't have the distribution. And this is such a key sort of factor to remember, that, without sales, without you being able to distribute your product into your client's hands, it's worthless, right? So you need to understand sales, you need to understand marketing, and you need to be able to communicate that to the outside world. And once you sort of understand that, and you understand the business problems, that's when you can really use AI effectively. And another thing which I think is also really, really sort of a good skill to have. So now, like, just to summarize, the skills are, first of all, sales and distribution. So understanding how can you get your product out there? How can you actually get new customers? That is the first skill. The second one is understanding business problems. So understanding businesses, understanding the constraints of business. That's the second one. And the third one is taste, because you have seen it. We have all seen it. Go to LinkedIn right now, scroll through a little bit, scroll through, 10 posts. You will see massive amounts of AI slop. And that is why the third skill to master in 2026 and beyond is taste. This really comes back to also understanding the customer. So as you know, a lot of the things I'm talking about is sort of understanding psychology, is having empathy and understanding the customer journey and how it feels like to use your product or services. And taste is really underrated, because anyone can now, create a website. Anyone can create a chatbot. Anyone can create a LinkedIn post, an email, whatever it is. But to make it truly good, you need to have good taste. You need to be able to differentiate what is AI slop and what is genuinely good. And there's so many things that goes into sort of not creating AI slop, but taste is being one of them. Because the biggest problem is that when you produce something with AI, which is not good, which sounds AI sloppy, but you don't realize it's sloppy. Just because you made it in 5 minutes, you feel like, oh, this is so good. And just because you made it, you somehow think that this is valuable. That's a big mistake, my friend. That's a big mistake. Because I think that many people have this sort of bias where you all of a sudden you start automating things and you think like you're God. You think that you have some unbelievable talent in creating stuff and coding, even though you're not really producing any sort of valuable thing in today's society. So developing taste is really underrated, and I see this with a lot of people I work with, where they create something, they're really happy, excited about it, but I immediately see, oh, this is so clearly AI. And the problem with just, relying on AI and sort of outsourcing your thinking to AI and just telling Claude or telling ChatGPT, hey, please do me a website on this and this, is that you will get the internet's average, right? You will not get anything exceptional by just relying on AI. And that is why, in order to make something with AI good, you need the human input. You need your own context to this in order to get from that median 50% baseline to the top tiers, right? So if you want to make something that is mediocre, then absolutely just use AI, make AI slop. It is what it is. You can make LinkedIn content, you can make blog posts, you can make websites, you can make emails, you can make proposals, but they will not be good. And the value in business is obviously making something that is better than mediocre, especially if you want to grow your company. You want to make things that are exceptional, that are really bringing lots of value to your clients. So these are absolutely more important than just understanding the technical details of site, because this is also something AI is just getting better and better and better at it. But these skills, I'm talking sales, I'm talking understanding business problems, and I'm talking taste. These are things that no AI can take from you. These are skills that can't be fully automated to AI, because at that point, no one has a job, right? So these are the outstanding skills that will outlast any sort of technological change within AI here and forward. And obviously, at some point, AI will probably be able to do this better than any human, but we're not there yet. So while you can, use this to your advantage. Use this knowledge right here to improve on these things, and you will get further ahead. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this was valuable. You can leave some feedback in the comments. What do you want to see next? What sort of questions do you have? And I'll make sure to answer that in the next video. Take care. Goodbye. Bye-bye.